Kia ora, my name's Robbie and I'm another white man behind a desk, and today we're talking about the war taking place on every single street corner in New Zealand. And also the rest of the street, because we're talking about roads. Now, obviously, every war needs a war correspondent, especially culture wars, and I believe I'm the perfect guy for the job. First of all, I don't drive, because I don't want to, and more importantly, I can't. And secondly, I don't cycle either. The last time I rode a bike, I also had an active Bebo profile. If you have to know, I'm a bus guy. So I don't like either of you. In a bus, I get stuck in traffic and stuck behind bikes. You both make my commute longer, and I hate you both equally. Also, it's worth noting that this entire rant is going to be about cities. So if you happen to not live in a city, but you also watch White Man Behind a Desk videos for some reason, then you're probably my Uncle Dave. So thanks for checking in, Uncle Dave, but I won't feel bad if you skip this one. I'll see you at Christmas. Try to lay off the sauce this time. So, with all of those caveats out of the way, let's start with the same question I've been asking since I was a child. Why is everyone so mad, and how can I stop them from yelling at each other? Last month, cyclists got so mad that they stormed the Auckland Harbour Bridge, shutting down 2 car lanes and getting arrested in huge numbers. And sorry, I can see now that most of them were white, so they weren't arrested, but I'm sure they all learned a very tough lesson. And that cycle protest made drivers so mad that they all went to their jobs at News Talk ZB and started furiously calling cyclists things like gits, tits, lycra-clad rats, and other whimsical terms of hateful dehumanization. Kerry McIver said the cyclists were entitled because they interrupted her trip to the North Shore to buy an intergenerational home, which I suppose must be the kind of thing you complain about when you're not entitled. Adult YouTuber Ben Chappell Law then organised his own revenge protest, plotting to storm a popular bike lane. Law said he wanted the protest to be peaceful, and then made the official event image a photo of an injured cyclist. He said he got the photo from Google, but here's a fun fact. That image doesn't come up when you Google cyclist. But it does come up when you Google hurt cyclist. Even I managed to get to the bottom of that one, Ben. I might not be too bright, but I can use Google. Okay? It's a very accessible search engine. At this point, you might be thinking, well, what did cyclists expect? Okay? They broke the law and they backed up State Highway 1. Of course, there was going to be backlash. They should have gone through the official process instead and organised some kind of formal trial. For example, that time the council trialled a low-traffic neighbourhood in Onehunga, legally blocking off some streets to cars in favour of cyclists and pedestrians. And drivers responded calmly and supportively. Except of course they didn't. They vandalised the plywood blockades and rented a forklift to illegally move them off the road. That is some intense hatred. I have never hated anything enough to rent a forklift. I hate the dentist, but I've never tried to teach them a lesson by calling up Hirepool and arranging to borrow a 1-ton manual stacker. So, cyclists are angry. Drivers are angry, and sooner or later someone is going to either A, get run over and killed, or B, get their car slightly dinged. So it's time to calm things down. And luckily I have a solution that will get bikes out of the way of cars and cars out of the way of bikes. And that solution is called dedicated cycling infrastructure, and it solves everyone's problems. Now, full disclosure, some people don't like my great idea because it sounds expensive. The folks at the tobacco and government-funded lobby group, the Taxpayers Union, have run billboards fighting Auckland's new cycle bridge because it'll cost too much. Big surprise there. But even staunch supporters of cycleways are hesitant about a vague project that won't provide any real solutions for cyclists for many years. So, here is my other idea. Instead of starting from scratch, we can repurpose our roads. Instant infrastructure, problem solved. Now, full disclosure, some drivers aren't hot on that idea either, because less roads means more traffic, right? Well, what if I told you that actually, if we made driving worse and cycling better, a lot of people would leave their cars at home? What if I told you that you might be one of those people who stops driving because it becomes safer and more convenient to cycle or to join me on the bus? And what if I told you that you have to do that because the Earth is on fire? And that is the inevitably shitty thing at the core of all of this. We all know that climate change is real and we have to get cars off the road, but change sucks. Right now, it's super convenient to drive around big cities like Auckland or Christchurch, so of course people don't want to give it up. But here's the thing, it is not a coincidence that it is convenient to drive. We literally built our cities for cars. We used to think they were the best thing since sliced bread. They went really fast and took you exactly where you wanted to go, and as far as we knew, they weren't bringing about any catastrophic weather disasters. So we built all our houses really far apart and got rid of trams and plonked in big motorways and made cars the best way to get around. It's like if everyone was super into stilts when you built your house. Your front door would be 13 feet tall and all of your shelves would be super high up. Thank God for stilts, you might start saying. Otherwise, how would I open my door and reach all my shelves? Well, now imagine that we found out that stilts were the main cause of a global climate catastrophe somehow. I haven't figured out that part of the metaphor yet. So everyone had to stop using them. Yeah, you probably wish you didn't build your house like that. It's going to be pretty annoying walking around without stilts now because the door is so tall and you can't reach your stove without a ladder. Well, that's pretty much what happened. Right now, we're all stranded in this weird car city. And now, unfortunately, we have to stop using cars so much. We're in the process of lowering the shelves, and eventually most of the doors will be human-sized, and it'll just make sense to take the stilts off, because wearing stilts will be annoying, and you'll look like an idiot. So, our cities have to stop prioritizing cars and start prioritizing cycling and public transport instead. That doesn't bother me, obviously, because I already get the bus. But if you're a driver, I understand that it bothers you. Of course it does. Change is terrible. But unfortunately, once again, we don't have a choice because the world is on fire. It's not cyclists' fault, and it's not your fault. We just made it really easy for you to drive and really hard to do anything else, and you made the rational choice. And you were rewarded with convenience and efficiency, but now we're changing everything. And it's going to kind of suck for a while. I wish cars released oxygen and planted trees, but they don't. The best thing for everyone is for the change to hurry up and happen as quickly as possible. So stop yelling at each other and start yelling at our local and national government instead. Hurry up. Rip the plaster off. We're all lazy and we just want to do whatever's easiest, and hopefully this time we make the easiest thing to do something that doesn't make the planet uninhabitable. Fingers crossed. This is Robbie Nicol signing off from war-torn central Auckland. Good night and good luck.